And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
It's a common expression, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. However, what if the horse's mouth is filled with useful insurance tools? This is the exact case with the Geico app. Yes, the app is free and therefore a gift horse. However, look inside the app and behold, emergency roadside assistance, digital ID cards, bill pay. Get the Geico app. Look it in the mouth. Get amazing services. Thank you.
We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, episode 346. If you hear some explosions in the background, it's thunder. Don't get worried about us. We'll be okay. I am Jay.
Is it thunder or is Porzingis dunking in the background?
Well, can't tell. We're in New York. It's we just hear that all day.
Yeah.
So that is Mark, and we got two special guests here today with us. We have Jerry Kraft. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. And you have brought your son with you as well, right?
Yep, my 16-year-old son, Aren. Hello.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, Aren. How you guys doing?
Yeah, Aren's the one with the deep voice.
Excellent. So you guys, I heard through the grapevine, are hardcore Knicks fans. So want to tell us a little bit about your background, how you became Knicks fans, and what you guys are up to these days?
Well, let's see. My introduction was growing up in my house with my dad watching the great Reed, Frazier, DeBusschere, Bradley, Earl Monroe team.
Mm-hmm.
So that pretty much hooked me on that. I remember that was with the Lakers and stuff. And then I guess my own team was probably the Ewing, Mark Jackson. Actually first the Bernard King team. I think that was my first. That was like my team.
Mm-hmm.
And then drafting Ewing and Mark Jackson and Allen Houston. And then there have been some dark days.
A couple.
And then Aren got into it a few years ago. What did you say was your team?
Well, I got into it probably when I went to my first Knick game and saw Jeremy Lin's first game at the Garden.
Oh.
And I was instantly hooked after that, I would say.
And you were like, this guy, Jeremy Lin, I'm going to be rooting for him for many years to come. We're going to build a dynasty here.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's so funny is because we had no idea who he was, and we got there early. We were on the floor, and he was shooting around, and we thought he was one of the trainers or something. And then he started that game, and then that whole insanity thing just took off. And, we have a picture that I post on Facebook where Aren is standing and Jeremy's shooting in the background. And then it just was crazy.
Was that the first game of Linsanity?
It was the first home game, I believe.
Yeah, I think against the
Utah?
Jazz.
It was Utah,
Yeah.
I remember the Jazz
first
game.
Started.
Yeah, I remember the Jazz game. I remember him that whole. I mean, the whole thing wasn't even that many games, but it was just like it just like took off. It was like international sensation basically for that short period of time.
Yeah, because at that time, remember Melo was out, and then Stoudemire was hurt, and actually the game we went to, Melo was out. Stoudemire went to like a funeral or something, and then their third guy, who I don't even remember who, was out.
Well, the
Tyson
thing,
Chandler, right?
Yeah,
Tyson Chandler got ejected in the first quarter or hurt, and I'm like, oh my God, spent all this money Aren's first game without Melo, Chandler, or Stoudemire. So what a waste of time and money this is. And then, we ended up seeing the whole insanity in its inception, and that was very cool.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I remember was that, like, he was the guy on the bench that the entire team basically had to be injured for him to play, and it actually like everyone was gone. They're like, well, yeah, kind of have to play just so we could like not forfeit the game, basically.
Right,
And then he just became like he just they should have lost, like they should have just had gone on a long losing streak. Instead they did the opposite, basically.
Absolutely.
And so, are you excited to have Linsati back in Brooklyn?
In Brooklyn. You know what? I am, because, you know, Brooklyn, what they did to their team. You know, and you know, I was born in New York, so there's no New York team that I don't root for. So when I was working at Sports Illustrated as a kid, some of my coworkers used to rag me for not choosing. But, you know, I like the Knicks more than the Nets. I like the Yankees more than the Mets. And I like the Giants more than the Jets. But I don't root against the other team. And so I really hate to see that the Nets have just put themselves into a really awful place. So Jeremy Lin would be probably the only one worth watching, being Lopez. I guess.
I mean, I feel like Jeremy Lin, like, no one can blame him for leaving. The Knicks didn't really try to keep him. He kind of like I've always just wanted things to, like, I want things to work out for him because I really like him. I think he's a great player. Or not a great player, but a player I really he's one of those underdog players that you really want things to work out for. But at the same time, I don't want him to be good, because if he's not in the Knicks, I don't really want him to be. It's I'm always conflicted.
Yeah,
if you leave,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, if you leave the Knicks, basically, here's what I want for you. I want for you to like win like the Powerball lottery, but never play in the NBA again. That's what I kind of want for you.
Yeah, because like we used to go to the practices, and some of the guys were really good guys. Like Chris Copeland was really nice to us, you know, and we really rooted for him. And then of course he goes to the Pacers, which, you know, that was like the enemy. So that was kind of tough.
I feel like the Knicks have been doing this thing lately, and by lately I mean for the last like almost 10 years, where every year they start off with a whole new roster, basically, like 9 or 10 new players. You kind of start liking the players. By mid-season, you have some guys you really are into, and you're like really hoping they'll work out, and then next year they're gone. You have to start over and try to like a whole new team.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because I think we both really liked Derek Williams. Yeah. Last year, like towards the end of the year, I thought he was one of the only players worth watching. He had some energy. He had some really cool moves. I actually liked Aren and was hoping that he would work out. And then, you know, now we're without them this year, so I'll miss them a little bit. But you're right. But at least this year they're replacing with someone. Like, in the past, you get these guys that you're used to, and then they're gone, and you start from scratch. And it's like, oh, geez, now you really start from scratch.
Right. I mean, I would say probably, I'm going to guess the Knicks have more turnover on a year-to-year basis than most college teams have. I would say, I find it frustrating that the team is so, and you're right, they replaced guys with better players this year, so hopefully things will get better. But I find the fact that the team is so different from year to year, I feel like it's really hard to build. I think it's really hard to build a contender when every year the training camp starts with introductions of who everyone is, and then you have to figure out how to play together, and you spend the first 2 months of the season developing chemistry.
Oh yeah, I mean, we talk all the time like what it must be like to be a Spurs fan, to have like Duncan, Ginobili, and Tony Parker for 15 seasons together, and knowing every year that these guys are going to come out and play for you. We've had Melo, and then before that was you almost got to go back to Ewing, and it's like just the consistency has not been there in such a long time.
I think literally the only thing consistent we've had for as long as they've had Duncan is the arena we play in.
Yeah,
outside of that, everything changes, and the arena's even changed because the arena's got they did all the upgrades. So there's absolutely the word continuity is not even. I think you're not even allowed to utter that when you work for this team.
I mean, the Ewing, Starks, Oakley, Mason team, that was the core four of the Yankees. Like, you knew that those guys were coming back every year, so it was tough to see those guys go. But geez, they've had nothing even remotely close to that. And you're right. Every single year, it's like someone else brand new.
It's the I think part of it is the shiny name strategy, where we just need shiny names. We go all in for these big names without really trying to develop a team, and we keep trying to take shortcuts. And shortcuts don't really work out for the most part.
I think I definitely agree with that. I think they did a good job last year of not going for, huge names and paying someone like LaMarcus Aldridge like $30 million a year for someone who would probably clash with Melo. But I think this year we did a pretty good job at least getting high-risk, high-reward players, because we at least have a good enough chance to contend.
Yeah, no, I mean,
everyone always talks about the Knicks being, Madison Square Garden being the Mecca and all that, but nobody really comes here, though. I mean, with the exception of Melo wanted to be here, Stoudemire wanted to be here, but the contracts that they had, the Steve Francises and like those guys were way past their expiration date. So we've not really had anyone in their prime besides Melo, and Stoudemire had a good couple years.
But wouldn't you say, like, I mean, forget, it's not the whole idea that people come to play in the Mecca is just a fantasy, and it's not true anywhere. No one goes anywhere just to play there. Everyone's drawn to money or a contender, and usually it's either a top name, big name player like a Durant going to Golden State because he wants to win a title, or a good like a guy like Al Horford who wants to like maybe contend better with Boston. Just someone trying to get paid basically and go to a contender. Those are things that draw people. No one's ever drawn to no one goes to LA when LA is bad. They only go there. They only go there when LA gets good. They go to New York if New York gets good. I mean, I understand if let's say like Oklahoma, they're probably gonna have trouble drawing players in the future. If and when Westbrook finally leaves there. But I mean, New York. I mean, we should be able to draw players, but you're not going to draw players until you're actually winning and you're actually close. You got to build a real foundation before anyone's going to want to go there, or you have to overpay for someone.
Yeah, well, they've not really done much with the draft in 100 years, because when you look at these teams that had like young players like Westbrook and Durant coming up, or and they even had Harden. That's three guys now. Golden State. And then you add pieces around them, and then when those rookies mature, you have a really good team. But, I mean, with the exception of Porzingis, I mean, who we drafted, Anthony early, that might be the only guy that's on the roster that we've actually drafted, I guess.
Is Anthony early even on the roster?
Yeah, we're looking at the proposed 2016 roster, and he's on there.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, he's on the Knick.com page.
Is Amari still on Knicks.com page?
No. I think they put him on for one day maybe and took him off. But when you see these guys that draft, I mean, like Cleveland having who's your point guard guys you love?
Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving, and then they have these other guys, and then LeBron comes back, and now you have a team. The Knicks really haven't gone young and gone through the draft, because we keep trading our draft picks, or when we do get them, we draft them on guys that don't stick.
Well, here's the thing. You got to either in the draft pick like top one or top two and get that guy coming out that's the consensus number one, like a Durant or a LeBron, or just be so good at drafting you're able just to nail the picks. Like Golden State, most of those guys were all not number one picks. I think Curry was 6 or 7. Knicks just missed him. Clay was like 10 or 11. What's his name went in the second round?
Yeah, Draymond was like 34 or something like that.
So here's what the Knicks should do. I'm going to make a proposal. I haven't touched this in the show yet. I haven't even told Jay about my proposal. So there's a salary cap, right? So you can only spend so much on a given player. You're capped at that. But Golden State, it seems like they're really good at drafting. The Knicks should take $100 million and buy Golden State's scouting department. leave Golden State with no one, and their scouting department will just build the Knicks, basically. Just buy the best scouts. Just do that. That's what you got to do. Go all in on the smartest possible people in basketball. Yeah, basically. And if they will not take your money, then you could hire people who can kidnap them or their family members to force them to draft the Knicks.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah. I feel like that would be if like Phil came out there and declared himself El Presidente for life, and like he was like, I'm taking the best scouts in the league by force. I'd be like, there we go. You're worth $12 million now.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Even you look at the Celtics. You know, they got like every pick that the Nets have for like the next 50 years. And then, you know, they get Isaiah Thomas, who's a really good point guard. And now you have people signing with them because, like, hey, they have a good nucleus.
Yeah.
And neither the Knicks or the Nets have done that in forever. And you know, the Nets mortgaged their future for 2 seasons of Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. Yeah.
I mean, that at the time, like, that was also one of those things where the second the trade was made, everyone not participating in the trade was like, that was the dumbest possible move. Like, you just traded your entire future for guys that were in their mid, like, about to end their career. But the Celtics they are a smart organization. I wish the Knicks were like 1% as smart as them. If you look at back in the day, they had Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker, and they were pretty good. They were like a marginal playoff team, and they said, you know what? This is not working. Antoine Walker, let's get him the hell out of town. We're not going to win a title with him. Let's just go back to building. They got a bunch of parts, took those parts, converted them to Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen, and won a title.
Yep.
And now they're building again for Anyway, so forgetting the fact that we can't none of us, it's not in our nature. We can't root for a team that's smart. We root for the Knicks. What do you guys think of the summer moves? Do you like which is your favorite move the Knicks made this summer, and which one do you think that they might regret?
You can start.
I think my favorite is probably the Jakeem Noah move, just because he doesn't really need all that. He uses a lot of skill and savvy rather than athleticism. So I think it's a really good pickup because I think he's better than Robin Lopez. And we need really strong defense because we had one of the best front courts in the NBA defensively and rebounding last year.
Yeah.
So I like that. And I liked the Brandon Jennings because he was cheap. I thought Courtney Lee was. Derrick Rose is probably the most, not sure iffy. I'm not sure about it. I like it because Calderon was not a starting point guard. Jerian Grant had some upside, but not, amazing. And Robin Lopez was good. So I think it's the most iffy, but I still think it wasn't bad. I don't think we made any really ridiculous, terrible moves this year.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to say Derrick Rose, even though I have my fingers crossed. But, I think it's a point guard driven league. And the Knicks have just not had point guards.
Just to interrupt you, I think Charlie Ward would disagree with you, but go on.
Yeah, exactly. So in my lifetime, I caught the tail end of Wolf Frazier, right? And I don't remember anyone between him and, say, Mark Jackson. And then I remember we had the two-headed point guard with Mark Jackson and Rod Strickland. I was actually at Rod Strickland's last game where Stu Jackson took him out, and he kicked Stu Jackson's towel across the garden. And I was like, oh, my God, he is going to be so gone. And they literally traded him the next day. Then they traded Mark Jackson. And then I remember Derek Harper for a while. I remember Doc Rivers. And, Charlie Ward for years.
Hubert Davis.
Was Hubert the point guard? Was he a two? I don't even remember.
I thought he was a two, but whatever.
Who knows with the Knicks, really?
Jay Williams that set the assist record one year, but
Childs.
only played. Yeah. Oh, Chris Childs. Oh, and now Calderon. Yeah, Jeremy Lin. But yeah, I mean, and every team comes with their Isaiah Thomases and Steph Currys and some other really great point guards, the Tony Parkers, and it's just embarrassing to see us like. I think Calderon drove like 7 times last year. He made it to the free throw line maybe 8 times all season. And then you see these guys that just cut and flash, pass. It's a really exciting brand of basketball that Knicks fans have not seen in eons.
I mean, I think in my lifetime, like the most recent memory, like point guard wise, I have the Jeremy Lin, being excited about that. I have like the pre-Melo trade Raymond Felton, kind of not so fat Raymond Felton. He was pretty good. He put up pretty good numbers while it was just him and Amari. That was pretty good. And Stephon Marbury statistically was pretty good. But like I look at his stats, and like he was pretty good. But why do I hate him so much?
Yeah, and I didn't understand how that ended where they didn't play him at all. Because he's one of the few players I really did feel bad for that just I thought got a raw deal. We had Jamal Crawford at the 2. That was exciting. But our guard play has just not been there. The Michael Ray Richardson, Ray Williams years,
You guys are forgetting the Knicks' all-time single-game assist leader.
Who?
Chris Duhon.
Oh, Duhon. I was thinking
that's
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I was thinking of. I said Child, but I was thinking of Duhon.
When I was at SI Sports Illustrated for Kids, I interviewed Duhon when he first came out, and then yes, he did set that assist record. But I think most people only remember him as being a Knick.
Yeah.
So going to present day, we have a bit of a paradox here with Derrick Rose. Here's the issue with Derrick Rose, the longer term issue. If he's bad, injured, we don't pay him. We just let him go at the end of the season, right? And then we traded Jerian Grant and Robin Lopez and got almost nothing. But if he's pretty good, or even if he's pretty good, or any level over decent, we're gonna be like, well, we have to sign him, and likely we're gonna max him out. And when we max him out, you could just say we might as well declare bankruptcy on the organization because that will definitely not work out. For this 1 year, it could work out okay. A 5-year deal is not going to work out, and next summer we're going to be like, should we max him out? Should we resign him? And there's going to be this awful choice we have to make.
Well, the other thing is Brandon Jennings could do really well, and then you could just let Rose go and Jennings start. And he's got some skills. You like Jennings, don't you?
I do like Jennings for $5 million for 1 year. Yeah,
but we're gonna have to. If he's pretty good, though, we're gonna have to pay him. One of these guys is getting paid next year by the Knicks, and and hopefully we don't regret paying that guy. But
I mean, as long as you're putting up, I just don't want to pay these Steve Francis anymore.
Well, that was the Isaiah theory, though. He's like Stevie franchise. He's gonna be. I got him, and he's gonna be the best player on the franchise on the team. It makes sense. Why wouldn't I acquire him?
Right.
And
that's with Dwayne Wade. There was a part to me that wanted him for a second, and then I was also scared because, with Wade and Rose, they could both be injured by the 3rd week and miss the whole season, and then we'd go back to begging Jeremy Lin to come back. So that was frightening.
So what do you think over under for number of games Derrick Rose misses this year? I'm going to say over under Derrick Rose misses 1,000 games this year. Here's actually a better question. Here's a question. So we have a starting 5. We have a real starting 5 here. There's no question, if everyone's healthy, who the starting 5 is. Will the starting 5 play together for at least 41 games?
Oh, okay. So Porzingis, yes. Courtney Lee, yes.
But I don't mean individually. I mean the five of
I
them
know.
healthy. Yeah.
I gotta go one by one just to see. So Jakeem Noah, okay, Melo. So 40 games. What do you think?
41 games, half the season, 41 games. What do you think? Over, under?
Yeah.
Over, under?
I think over.
Over
I-
40, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to keep hope alive. I'm going to say over also.
I think we have to say over at this point, or else we're just kind of saying we're also just like declaring the season over if we don't say over on that.
Yeah.
But I feel like that, like I can't say like over 60 games together because I just think that's no way that's happening.
No, but I do think at least that having Brandon Jennings to spell him a bit, I like. We were just watching some of Justin Holiday's game right before you called. Aren likes Quinn more than I do.
Lance Thomas.
And then Lance Thomas we both like a lot.
What do you
So-
you just said you were just watching Justin Holiday? What do you think? I haven't really watched much Justin Holiday. Should I expect? Do you think he's going to be good? Is he a real player?
He'll be a good backup. I mean, for a time, he started for the Warriors a couple games, made some threes, made some mid-range, some dunks here and there. He's not a spectacular, offensive threat, but he's decent at everything,
Yeah, he won the championship with Golden State, and he won overseas.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be decent. I think he's going to be a good backup.
Because we're extremely, extremely not deep at guard position. So I think Holiday, if he can play 20 minutes a night for us and be solid, that would be super helpful. Do you think we can get 20 minutes from him? Or is that unrealistic?
Yeah. I don't know.
Courtney Lee.
No, you got,
we like the game too.
but you got
so-
Courtney Lee and Rose and Jennings. There's one more guard is going to have to play. You're going to need 20 minutes from another guard. You're going to have to piece that together.
Yeah.
You got to figure Rose is probably going to play 30 minutes a game. You're not going to get much more from Rose because he's not going to he's not going to play 40 minutes for us. Jennings coming off injury also is not going to give you. He'll probably give you 20, 25 minutes. Courtney Lee, I think we need 50 minutes a game from him. But realistically, he's probably going to play like 37, 38 minutes. Probably is going to be, which I think would probably be a career high for him. But I bet they push his minutes high.
Yeah.
But you're still going to have a bunch of minutes that have to fill. You have to fill there.
My son just said not Sasa Vujacic, but
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know the other guys, the younger guys, Jason Randall and JP Toccato. I'm not really familiar with their games at all. So, okay, so here is the move. Can you close out this now, Aren?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so we have what's the mid-level exception? What's the veterans minimum?
Yeah.
Okay, so here is my son's advice for the veterans minimum.
Okay.
Well, since we have one more roster spot to fill, I think with the veterans minimum, we should sign Lance Stephenson. I've been seeing reports about it.
Well, just
I've been-
instead of Lance Stephenson getting him, and I understand there's some strong arguments for him, but let me just say, instead of Lance Stephenson, why don't we take actual pieces of dynamite and let them go off in the locker room?
That's where I am now. As we were actually shooting hoops about half hour ago, before the lightning.
Yeah.
We had our own lightning because he brings up Lance Stephenson on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And he's like, no one wants him, and he's got this chip on his shoulder, and we've got so many guys with chips on their shoulders. He's a lockdown defender. He's athletic. He would fit in with New York. I feel we just got rid of J.R. Smith.
We were doing this. We were previously doing this. We were talking about this move, and we were talking ourselves into crazy. But when you talk yourself into crazy, you realize at the end of the day, you get crazy. There's not like no matter what we say to talk ourselves into this working out, you know this is not going to be a great idea.
I'm in on this idea. I like this idea.
We have such a high risk. We have such a risk reward. Like I don't know, just
the entire team is a gamble. Why not just everyone should be a gamble? Just go all in.
No, you know what this is? This is like I'm in Vegas. I'm down $20,000. Fuck it, I'm going to sign the deed of my house over on the next bet. So what? Why? I'm screwed anyway, honey. We don't need a place to live.
Deed to the house on black.
Yeah, if we win this, we get a second house.
Exactly.
But you know what? Think with the veterans, I think with Noah, Melo, and Rose, I'm thinking if anyone can keep Stephenson kind of in check as much as he can, it might be those guys. And he would be so not the center of attention that anything you got would be a plus.
He knows it's also one of his last chances in the league.
Yes, absolutely.
It probably would be his last chance. No one is really looking at him but us.
You know, here's the thing with that also. Every once in a while you hear about a guy who's on his last chance, and it works out, and everyone's excited, and you hear the story about the guy, because for the most part, when a guy's on his last chance, it doesn't work out, and it would have worked out a while ago if the guy could control himself.
Right.
Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman. What a fantastic example. You're right. We're going to win 3 more titles. I don't know. I was thinking about it. I was almost on board, and I was like, this is just. Let's go with hopefully the other guys working out. The problem also with Stephenson is he's going to want a lot of playing time, and I don't necessarily see how he gets a lot of playing time.
Because he's better than most of our bench.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he would be what, like our 6th best guy?
So he's really best position of 3, right?
Yeah, and we have no backup for Melo.
No. Well, so I'm saying so if he plays and you get Melo with the 4, that wouldn't be bad. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
But right now they have a lineup where Noah's the 5, Porzingis is the 4, Melo's at the 3. I just see.
Yeah, but do you think he's better than Lance Thomas?
But Lance Thomas is not a guy who's gonna cause issues. Lance Thomas is a role player. He knows he's a role player. He's fine with being a role player. Lance Stephenson is
hilarious.
Like the Tasmanian devil. Like he's gonna cause problems, basically.
To me, he's one of those Nate Robinson kind of guys where there's no doubt that he's got talent, but every year he's on a different team. So is it that everyone wants him or no one wants him?
Well, the last time he was good was the last time the Knicks were good.
There you go.
So I don't know. Maybe the Knicks haven't been good in a while. So maybe we should say I mean, Lance Stephenson has been given a lot of chances with people giving him a lot of money to try to have it work out, and it hasn't worked out.
He was good in Memphis.
Was he good in Memphis?
Yeah, he was. He was good in Memphis.
There you go.
And they seem to want to bring him back, huh?
And no one's closing LeBron's ear quite like now.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
He's been good in 50% of his seasons.
I
like those odds.
I almost would say I'd rather have J.R. Smith back than have Lance Stephenson back.
No.
To Lance Stephenson. Because J.R.
That's
Smith,
Mark, I'm going to have to turn off your mic.
I think with J.R. at least you know what you're getting.
Oh, God.
I think he can contribute. Lance Stephenson Lance Stephenson is a stage 4 cancer in your locker room.
Mark's words do not represent the feelings of this podcast.
Do you think? I feel like we have a delicate situation we have a delicate balance with this team. We really need chemistry, and he's just going to just light the chemistry on fire.
Yeah, he's going to ruin the chemistry of 9 guys who have never played together before.
It's true. Maybe he'll blow in Kyle Quinn's ear. Whatever. It's the 15th roster spot, and on most teams that means he would never play. On the Knicks, that means he's probably a starter by midseason. Yeah, based on injury. Whatever. I mean, what's going? So, are the Knicks really talking to him? Why if the Knicks are going to sign him, why don't they just sign him?
They're trying to decide if they like him or if they like him.
Oh, they're going to pass him a note in gym class?
Yeah.
Well,
I
we're
guess
only
we're
gonna
just-
we'll offer you a
Like,
contract
hey
if you
guys,
say
we got
yes
one
first.
spot left. Ray Allen, you want to come back? Anyone else?
Can guys just like officially retire? If you retire, you're not allowed to come back anymore. Like, just stop Ray Allen. You can't play in the league anymore. Just leave Ray Allen.
Well, you remember Jimmy Jackson used to retire like every year and then come back after the All-Star break and sign with like the best team so he could win the ring.
And average like 20 points a game too.
Yeah, absolutely. But he would just literally take off the whole first half of every season.
Yeah, I mean, it's
That guy had the weirdest career. I mean, that guy could put up points like nobody, and he was on what, like 9 different teams?
Oh, yep, absolutely.
Very strange.
So,
what do you guys think of the bench? Do you like the bench?
well, we got Sweet Lou. who,
Okay, quickly, we're going to do rapid trivia. How many guys on the Knicks bench have been in the NBA before? Go.
I mean, have been in the NBA before.
Been in the NBA before.
Oh. You know?
You can't do it
Yeah.
fast because it's a hard question. Most teams you just say, well, there are 10 bench guys, so maybe 9 of them have been in the NBA. But the Knicks, you're like 3, maybe 4.
Yeah. Well, Clancy Early, if he is still there. Lou Adamson.
Lou Adamson. I don't think Clancy Early and Lou Adamson, despite what Knicks.com says, I don't think they're really on the roster.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be on the team opening
Yeah,
day.
you know what? I thought that Amundsen had signed with someone else, and I was, moderately. Free agent. Okay, so they're free. Okay, so Nick.com says they're free agents. So you got Hernan Gomez, who I keep waiting to see him in the Olympics, but I've not seen him play yet. Kuzminskis, I saw play a little bit with Serbia, or I forget what team he was on. I saw him play a little bit the other day, and they seemed to rave over him. Maurice Endure, Aren and I saw him in Summer League 2 years ago, and I think he was our favorite Summer League player.
Yeah.
Last year. So Aren was very excited that they signed him. Paulo Quinn, I'm not feeling Aren likes him. I would have kept Seraphin instead.
Well, they gave a 4-year deal to Kylo Quinn, so you're kind of stuck with him.
Oh yeah. You got defense. Seraphin. Yeah. You got Mark Plumlee, so you got the third Plumlee in the league.
Yeah, three Plumlee's a charm.
Yep. Chaser Randall, I don't know. JP Chikado, I don't know. Sasha Vujacic, Aren refuses to let me talk about. Lance Thomas, we both love. So, I mean, on the bright side, looking at Seraphin, not Seraphin, Kylo Quinn, Sasha Vujacic, Maurice Endure, and that was the starting lineup.
I mean, we've been saying for a little while that like the odd thing about this team is the starting lineup says win now, and the bench says top 5 lottery pick.
Yeah, I could see that.
I mean, the bench could work out. It's just such a. It's the bench is just like that guy. Like, hopefully this guy Kuz is good. Hopefully Hernan Gomez is good. It's an interesting bench where it could be very helpful, or we could have some really growth. It could be when the starters leave the court, we go from like a competitive basketball game to being down by 20 in like 12 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's like some of the teams, like the Australian Olympic team that's got like 5 guys who played in the NBA, and then once they're out, it's like guys who are, sheep herders, and so it just really drops off drastically.
Yeah, I mean that actually got me thinking about the continuity thing. I've been thinking about it for a while, but like the Olympic team, the U.S. Olympic team clearly has the most talent by far of any team. But we're getting challenged the last couple of games because we're playing teams that have been playing together for a long time. They really play like a team. There's real ball movement. There's real cutting, and we can't really develop that because we don't have enough time to work on that because that takes a while.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you guys, what do you think of Durant going to Golden State? Too much of a good thing, or does it work?
I think it's good in the sense of I really enjoy finding out the ending of a movie ahead of time, and now I know the Golden State wins the finals. I don't have to watch the NBA season. It's great. I think it's such a move of come on, Durant. I mean, it's not only are you saying, hey, I need to go to the best team so I can be guaranteed to win a title. I took the team that was the best team, and I took out the legs of their number one competitor, or at least the number one competitor in the West.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like a Hydra move. It's like it did a double whammy.
That was a comic reference, Mark.
It's a Captain America reference, right?
Wow,
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Do you know how I know that? I was just reading a Captain America comic to my son for bedtime before he went to sleep. We were just reading that.
Oh, wow.
And literally they mentioned Hydra, or else I would have no idea.
I mean, I think on paper it looks really good, but I think their bench is a lot thinner. So, and you have Jaja starting now, so it's like their core is going to have to stay healthy all season, or and they're going to have to play a lot of minutes.
Yeah, and see, I think that you're going to be able to bully them because Aren is not a great defender. And I think instead of going small to match up with them, you get, the DeMarcus Cousins, I think, will put up 40 against them. I don't think you have a chance if you go small. I think you have to go the opposite and go big and just beat them up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the. Do you think they're? I don't know. Do you think their bench is that weak though? Their bench is still pretty good, actually.
It's decent with JaVale, McGee.
Yeah, they got David West in the bench. David West is a pretty solid bench piece. That was a huge pickup for them.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. They
I'm more upset with David West I am with KD because talk about going cherry picking to win that title. So he went from I'm going to take $5 million to the Spurs. It's like, oh, okay, now I'm going to go with the Warriors. So next year, he signs with the Cavs, or
Aren't you kind of waiting for some player to sign with their team in Game 4 of the Finals? Okay, you're up 3-1 Golden State. I'll sign with you for the last game.
That's what Ray Allen's going to do this year.
Right, exactly.
I mean, West is at the point he's hunting for a title, but he's also not the star player on the team. He doesn't put them over the top.
He's also turned down about $40 million.
The West thing the West thing annoys you more than the Kevin Durant thing.
It does. You can't tell me what annoys me.
I'm in your brain. I can say what annoys you.
Yeah, because he took so much more. So much less. And then it's like, oh, okay, yeah. I don't know. That really did annoy me. I'm not sure why it bothered me as much.
I would think
not to be one of the key players. It's like, yep, I'm getting my ring anyway. If I got to sell popcorn at the Cavs game next year, I'm getting my ring.
Well, I feel like West is someone that has said, hey, I've made a lot of money in the league. I just want that experience of winning the title. I'll be a hired gun for whatever team that can get me the title. But I'm not going to also be someone that goes, hey, I deserve to be in the Hall of Fame because I finally won a title, basically. It's not going to define his career. Versus Kevin Durant is at the stature of, he wants to go down as one of the great players of all time. And they're, great players, they're defined partly by, winning rings. And if you won in Oklahoma, you go, well, he got a couple rings or got a ring, and he can go down as one of the great players. But now he's going to get his ring in a kind of a cheap way. If LeBron James signed with Golden State, you would kill LeBron James for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Because even LeBron, when he went to Miami, it wasn't like they were already the reigning champs.
Yeah. They didn't win 73 games the year before he got there.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, I don't hate LeBron at all. Like I said, I worked at Sports Illustrated for Kids for like 8 years and met a lot of the athletes and did a lot of interviews and stuff. So I don't take it as more than entertainment. So I don't lose sleep over games. Not since the Reggie Miller 8-point in like 8 second thing. That was like probably the last game that I think I really lost sleep because I've tried to look at it just as like, okay, almost like a movie, like entertainment. So I don't hate LeBron at all. I actually like him. I like what he does. I love his game. I thought he was great in Trainwreck. I thought it was hysterical. So
I feel like LeBron is something that you could root against him. You could root against Michael Jordan back in the day, but you have to appreciate the fact that he is on another level, and and we're lucky to be able to watch LeBron play.
Right. If you step back, I mean, and you can, it's to me it's like Darth Vader. You love to hate him. Like for me growing up, it was Reggie Miller. Like I wouldn't have, shot him into space so you never see him again because I love to root for him and love to root against him. Well, not for him, against him to beat him. But yeah, I did dislike Reggie Miller. I don't dislike LeBron at all. And yes, he is on another level.
So LeBron
block shot.
So LeBron took the villain role for a little while, and I think he kind of, with Cleveland last year, he won the title, and I think he's kind of shedded the villain role. Do you think Kevin Durant and maybe the Warriors now are the kind of the new NBA villains?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, super teams are almost immediately the villain. And I heard a lot of people, rooting against the Warriors this year because they had won. And now they're probably, I don't think they're going to win more than they did this year, but it's possible. And I know people are going to hate them, especially now they have all of Oklahoma City hating them more.
Yeah. I mean, anything for them, anything less than a title is a complete failure of a season.
Yeah, and how much better can they be than last season?
I don't think they're winning 74 games. I would go to Vegas right now and make a solid bet on that one. They're not. It's hard to compete with what they did last year.
Right. So if they win 67, the year is a flop.
Yeah, you're like 67 wins. What are you guys, amateurs?
Right. Exactly. Hey, way to go, KD.
Way to have a 700 winning percentage. Wow, you're good.
Yeah.
So let's just move a little bit. Let's move to current Knicks news. Because there are things. Jay, what's going on in Knicks world? We're updated on Knicks world.
Melo said he is if he won the Olympics again, he would be satisfied with his career, which riled a lot of people up.
They basically just asked. It was a part of a longer quote, and he was just saying winning the 3 Olympic gold medals was, and he didn't win a title. He'd still be satisfied. Which can you really? Is that such a bad thing to have said?
It's just funny that people are getting mad at what he would or would not be satisfied with, as if like he has to live up to like somebody else's standard of what a good career is.
I mean, go.
So here's my thing. So we put so much pressure on these guys to win rings, and then when you get a Kevin Durant that's like, hey, well, I'm going to win a ring because otherwise, really, should we really look down on Barkley and Malone and Ewing for not having gotten a ring? Does that really make them less of a player? So we put that much pressure on him, and then when you have Durant saying, okay, well, I'm going to sign with Golden State to make sure I get a ring, you can't have it both ways, because I think it's our own fault for driving them to that level. And, I hope he means that, listen, at the end of my career, if I haven't won an NBA title, but I've won this, I still think that I've proven myself as a star. And I would much rather him stay with the Knicks and try to win it than go next year and sign with the Cavs just so he could get his ring.
I mean, I think it's part of it also. We don't appreciate enough. Like, we definitely didn't appreciate in the 90s how good Patrick Ewing made the Knicks and how good those teams were and winning 50 games every year. And with Melo, we're not winning a lot of games with him, but he's still playing really, really well. It's just that we expect him to do otherworldly things like play other positions besides his. Like somehow he can turn this crap. Like most of the time, the franchise has been pretty bad around him. It's not his fault that there's been 97 different players that he's played with, 4 different team presidents, 4 different coaches. Like it's not his fault the team has been in such turmoil.
Right, absolutely. And he wanted to come here. And that's the one thing that I don't like about sports is because now, a lot of the talk radio shows, and the fans call in and like, oh, we'll never win with him. It's like, well, how about we've never really given him a point guard, or we've never, given him, when you look at the Lakers, there's always Shaq and Kobe, Kareem and Magic, Durant and Westbrook, and Kyrie, and he's never had his aunt. It's like Carmelo and I guess Amari.
Carmelo and one of Amari's knees.
Right, exactly.
So I guess I think Melo's been given. He doesn't get appreciated for the fact that there's so little around him, I guess.
Right, absolutely.
So another thing going on in Knicks news is the Phil Jackson Chronicles Part 5 have been released. And for those that don't know what this is, Charlie Rosen, who is someone close to Phil Jackson, covers basically throughout the season, Phil Jackson gives interviews to Charlie Rosen. And then when the season's over, he releases the Phil Jackson Chronicles, and each one is basically what Phil Jackson's mindset was during a given time during the season. So the first couple, one was like during training camp, one was like a month or so into the season. The last one released was Phil Jackson's mindset. Basically right before 5 games prior to Derek Fisher being fired. And at this point, he was saying good things about the franchise. He thought Derek Fisher was doing a pretty good job as a coach. And then 5 games later, he fired Derek Fisher. And so I'm just going to read you the quote and see what you guys think of this. This is from what Phil Jackson said basically during this time to Charlie Rosen about this. And he said, almost from the start, this was a difficult time for Derek. Derek did have a situation that took some focus away from his coaching during the preseason, but I never doubted that his focus was on coaching the team. A divorce and a coast-to-coast move with children does put pressure on a person's life, but that's the NBA. However, Derek did move the team forward. He was dedicated and he worked hard. The players hustled and, for the most part, stayed on a positive, stayed as positive as possible. By the way, this is when the Knicks are 24-33. This is right after Fisher was fired, basically.
Okay.
And he said, and Derek did manage to survive last season and to deal with the heavy pressure of the constant losing, which is probably more intense in New York than any other NBA city. When I was coaching, I liked to play a lot of players and usually found rotations of 9 or 10 players to play. But it was hard for Derek to find a workable rotation. Nevertheless, the team did develop under him, and we have enough pieces in place to give us a chance to compete every night. So far, I don't have much to make of that. I don't know how to explain why he fired him. But he said, and because Derek was still in the player's mindset, he talked to guys about diet, how to approach shoot-arounds, the importance of game day naps, of game preparation, of being ready for the practices that are called the day of games. He was training individuals, which was really in tune with so many millennials, young people, and young players who are primarily interested in themselves. In the NBA, these young guys are concerned with what playing for whatever team they're on can do for them. Can playing in New York or Boston or LA or whatever add 10K to followers to my Twitter account? Will the local media get me lucrative endorsements? What do I have to concentrate on to get a better contract? One difference I had with Derek is that I am much more interested than he was in training groups, the Knights of the Round Table kind of thing. There is a movement called humanistic psychology that appeals to me, especially the work of Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. In the context of this team, it's about creating a comfortable, secure workspace to help and encourage the players to self-actualize, with the end of enabling them to grow together as a group. You could also say the season is a process, something like an extended group therapy session or a vision quest. The ultimate group goal being to win a championship. This is a different managerial style, a different paradigm, and that's far from the norm in the NBA. Kurt is an NBA veteran in both areas as a player and a coach, and he has been through the grist mill of excellence and trial. His tenure with the Lakers as a player was on winning teams, and then he spent a couple of years with Charlotte and Sacramento on some so-so teams before ending up in Phoenix.
You really are reading the whole thing?
I'm not going to read the whole thing. Just as a coach, I'm just actually. So I had not read this until I'm reading it with you guys right now, and I don't even know where the hell he's going with this.
Yeah, I didn't get really a real reason why he fired Fisher. I thought he was actually going to explain that. It doesn't seem like he really did.
He goes through Kurt, then he goes, we spent a lot of time trying to get something done, but there's no way I'm going to deal with our 2018 first-round pick. It was clear all along the free agent market was the main. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah, and I thought part of the Fisher lore was when KD would be a free agent that, they played together at OKC, right? And that he might have some pull. So it was weird that he didn't let him last the season, especially when he replaced him with Kurt Rambis, who, had such a losing record.
Yeah. So I think tell me if you think this is where he's going with this. Derek Fisher related too well to the players. He wanted more of a team guy who was above all this on like some higher plane level, could bring the team to some nirvana level. And he's always had an erection for Kurt Rambis, and so it just made more sense to switch. Is that kind of?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't believe this guy's running our organization. I mean, I know he knows more about. I know his knowledge of basketball is. He's on another level with knowledge of basketball than any of us are. But what the hell is he talking about?
Well, the thing is, you give Fisher a team to grow with, but that wasn't a team that was going to be around to grow. You know what I mean? Because most of those guys are not even here this year. So if he had a good young team or had put together a team like the Blazers, the kind of a young team now or Timberwolves, right? The Jazz or the Celtics, and then that's his team, and he can do like Jason Kidd, where the first year is kind of growing pains and that kind of thing, and then he finds his niche. But to give him such short time and then replace him with Rambis, that was just kind of like the old Isaiah Thomas panic move.
I mean, the thing with Phil, do you think there's an issue in the sense of most of his experience has always been with teams on the verge of a title? He's always been in situations where the team, except for like 1 year after Shaq left or the Kobe and the team was just bad, but generally the Bulls team he got there, they had NBA championship talent, and he had to just turn that talent into a title. And the Lakers, Shaq, Kobe, you have championship talent. And with Gasol also, you had championship talent. Here, you don't have championship talent. You clearly don't have championship talent, and he does not know how to make that work if you don't have the actual talent.
Yeah, I think now what he's done, though, is I think you put the team in a position where at least a free agent would consider coming here to playing with Noah and Melo and Porzingis, whether or not Rose is here. I think, it's like when the Mets for so long, no one wanted to come, and then they gave Pedro Martinez all that money. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, maybe we can go to the Mets. So this is the first team where I think a free agent would actually want to come here and not thinking that they would have to start from scratch.
Yeah. That is a fair point. We have he has set us up with a roster that, again, is being a very high risk reward roster. If the reward works, we have a very good team.
Right.
Jay, you want to cut the questions?
Sure. While I pull up the questions, Jerry, do you want to talk about your books and artwork real quick?
Yeah, we didn't mention the fact that Jerry is a. Well, Jerry, tell us all about what you tell us about.
Jerry's what do you do again? So I am a cartoonist. I did a comic strip called Mama's Boys for about 20 years for King Features. I do children's books now, and my son Aren and my older son Jalen and they helped me to co-write a middle grade novel called The Offenders Saving the World While Serving Detention, which is a kind of a superhero but anti-bullying theme. I've done probably about 23 different children's books and middle grade novels, and now I am working on a graphic novel. I worked 8 years at Sports Illustrated for Kids, so that was where I got to cover like the NBA draft and do some animated pieces for them. So I've been pretty fortunate having to do sports and art and cartooning and comic books and basically be 10 years old my whole life.
Yeah, you've had a pretty. I couldn't have said it better, obviously, and you've had a pretty awesome run. I was gonna say I was looking at your. It was either on your blog or your website. Something about you had a thing about reading to kids, getting the kids to read, and you mentioned there was a mom that wrote to you about like she was trying to find one of your books that was out of print or out of circulation, and you were like, it's out of circulation, and she said to you, no, you understand, I need this book because my son will actually read it. And you like found from your personal collection and sent it to her, which I thought was awesome, because she were like go on.
No, you're right. She's like, I need this book. I need it. You understand. My son read your first book. It's the first book he ever read on his own. I need that second book. And I had the second book was like out of circulation, and I had put aside some for my kids, and then I talked to them about it. I was like, yeah, this kid really wants them, so they let me break open the stash. Another time a woman was like, my nephew, when he had Mama's Boys as American Sweet Potato Pie, he moved and he lost it. And he's always, kind of really been like upset that he lost that book. Will you sell me another? And again, I was like, well, it's out of print. I was like, well, okay, well, how old is the little guy? She's like, oh, he's 26. So I was like, oh, okay. He's like, you don't understand. His favorite book, it haunts him that he lost it. So I sold him that one, and now he's got two kids. So she bought the Mama's Boys, the big picture for his son, and then the Mama's Boys homeschooling for the daughter. So I mailed out 3 of them and sent one to the dad, one to the daughter, and one to the son.
That's awesome.
So it's been cool. Like I love doing school visits and book signings. I will just give my website real quick just so people can check it out. That's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
please do.
JerryCraft.net, JerryCraft.net, and then you can see the stuff that Aren has done with me. And Aren, it's my buddy that does like the live stuff, the TV interviews and that kind of stuff. He did an interview with it was the guy that wrote Iron Man 3, Drew Pierce, for the Huffington Post. Did like a live Skype interview with him, and asked some really good questions, which is pretty cool. So yeah, and we're gonna start working on some other stuff together. So we keep it in the family, me and
awesome.
Aren and Jalen, and my wife is very supportive. So, and my 2 bagels.
I liked your theory also on reading to kids. I already had this mindset, but like the idea for reading for kids, it doesn't matter if they want to read comics, whatever they want to read, as long as they're reading. And so, I think people I take my son to the library. I'm like, do you have superhero books? Because he likes superhero books. I don't care what he wants to read, as long as we're doing reading. That's all that really matters.
Oh yeah, I mean we're big gamers also. So, when the new issue of Game Informer would come, both my boys would sit down and they would read to see, all right, Dad, Halo 5 is coming out. I'm like, oh, well, when's it coming out? And they'd read the whole article. Well, it's coming out here. It's a next-gen console. It's this, it's that, which is a big difference from when I was a kid, and you'd read comic books, and the teachers would come and confiscate them because they thought that comics rotted your brain. And then by the end of the year, you'd look in their desk, and they'd have a bigger comic collection than the kids because all they did was take them, and then they'd like throw them out at the end of the year. But reading it's a muscle. The more you do it, the stronger it gets, and the better it gets. So that's why when I do a lot of school visits, I'm always trying to get kids, like, look, if you like sports, read what's going on. What trades are the Knicks going to do? And, whether you're reading on your phone or a tablet or a book or whatever, you'll be better for it. And I'm happy to raise two readers and now two writers.
Yeah, and it is to relate to the Knicks. If you read enough books about Zen, you might have a clue what Phil Jackson's talking about.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Aren, between reading about the Knicks and Knick trades and NBA trades and playing 2K, knows more than even I do about stuff.
Did we just lose them?
Yeah, I think we did. We are running very long, so hopefully
when they come back, we'll just go to the questions.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they call back. Well, let's see. We can maybe do a question real quick.
Yeah, let's do questions until they come back. I'm sure they'll call back.
Yep, there they are.
Oh, there they are. Okay.
Yep.
Hello?
Hey,
Yep.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so Aren knows, like, the benches of, like, the Utah Jazz because of the NBA 2K and stuff. He's like, oh, well, Dad, Rudy Gobert. And I'm like, who? And, oh, this guy, that guy. So he's just constantly reading about it. So hopefully he can get a GM job in the future. and then hook us all up with some tickets.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Jay, so why don't you start on the questions we have for the show?
All right. Email nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. Matt writes, how's it going? I'm writing to you from Perth, Western Australia. I'm actually amazed at how many Australian listeners we have. A couple years ago, I realized that I needed to support one team in the NBA, and I chose the Knicks. The idea of supporting a player is seriously foreign to Australians. Man, I had no idea that so many people had laid waste to this organization over the past few years. Isaiah Dolan, the strip club scandals, and just horrible trade after horrible trade. Having caught up by reading numerous articles, it seems that a team can have this much bad luck and poor management. I really had no idea. I'm glad I'm a Knicks fan because when the victory comes, it will be, well, there ends the cliche I was about to use. Anyway, I have some thoughts on Triangle and Carmelo. I don't know if I'm stating the obvious here, but to my mind, the two times the Triangle has been really successful has been with clubs where there was one star who was truly the focus of the offense. In both instances, Kobe and Jordan were equally adept at shooting or taking it to the hoop. I'm not saying Carmelo can take it to the basket. He can. But to me, his eliteness is about his shooting and the fact that any shooter can go cold. Surely, the Triangle relies on having multiple options as the ball moves through every set of hands. I think that because of his reliance on the outside shot, Carmelo Anthony is not the man to be the focal point for the Triangle, and it kills me to see this organization with its history investing so much in a system which seems destined to fail. It's very concerning as a fan, even from this distance, especially because the team could potentially do so well under any number of other offensive systems. In any case, I seriously love your podcast. Keep them coming. And go Australia versus the almighty USA. I hope our big boofer, Aaron Baines, puts Cousins on his ass. Thank you, Matt.
Well, was it Baines that was checking Melo?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. That was a little too slow for Melo. But they've got a really good team. That was a really good game. The one thing with Melo is, he's the all-time leading scorer for the Olympics, for the Dream Team, USA team. So obviously he can play with all the stars and be very productive. The fact that the Knicks have not had these stars is not his fault. So I think, when you bring in these other guys, the Rose and Noah, I don't think he'll do any less. I think he can actually elevate his game as he's doing now in the Olympics.
I mean, the take on people have had on him for a while is he's he's not necessarily like a clear number one in your team, but if he's your number two, you have a shot at the finals. If the Knicks, if you have, I mean, there aren't that many players there. They're so much better. But if you had like if he was, you put him on Cleveland with LeBron, LeBron would be a very happy camper.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So to go into this question real quick, do you think Melo is not right for the triangle?
I mean, I think nobody will be Michael Jordan again, or nobody will really be exactly like Kobe. And I think what Hornacek is doing is trying to make a different, pseudo version of the triangle with some more fast breaks, some other different, more pick and roll plays, things like that. And I think Melo can be suited for something more like that. But I really don't think the triangle, the old triangle, will really be more effective with a different player, because I don't know really what player that would be.
Yeah, I think that especially having a great passing big man like Jakeem, that and then someone that can dish and kick out like Rose. I mean, they've not really had either of those. So if they're going to do it, I would think that this is a team that can do it. If it's mid-season and they cannot do it, then they need to trash it and come up with something else. But I'm curious to see what Hornacek does do with this squad.
Yeah, I would say I think I'm on the same page with everything you just said. I think I'm just curious to see how it all works out. I feel like under Hornacek, the triangle should be a bit looser, but you have some interesting parts. So we'll see how it goes. I hope it's not. I hope they're not. I hope it's not a rigid triangle. That's one thing I'd have to say. If it's a more of a loose triangle, I think it could work a lot better with the squad.
Well, I think for the first time, this is one of the smartest teams. Like, I think the basketball IQ went up drastically, and I think that basketball IQ can compensate for physical talent. Like, if you remember the team they had a couple of years ago, when they had the AARP squad that had Rasheed Wallace and Jason Kidd and Marcus Camby and Kurt Thomas. I mean, that was like their last pretty decent season. And those guys, were really a year away from retirement, if that. I mean, most of them retired almost immediately after. But that was one of the things with the Lakers and the Celtic dynasties. Like, those guys are smart basketball guys. Parrish would get a rebound, kick it out to Ainge, kick it out to McHale, Larry Bird, easy layup. Boom, 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 boom. So it's not always the physical talent, but I think that the basketball IQ for this team is pretty high, as well as the athleticism. So I'm really looking forward to it this year.
No, that's a huge thing, and people also forget about just also that squad. Kmart was a huge addition towards the end of the year, and he was past the point where he was a really effective. Like, his skills had diminished, but he was a very smart player at that point and made a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Jay, you want the next question?
I mean, look at Richard Jefferson. I mean, how much he stepped up with Cleveland this year.
Yeah. No, I mean, like the basketball IQ thing is pretty. I hope it works out, but I think you're right. Like, you have to. And not that you ever say any team is dumb, and any team that usually wins usually say they have a high basketball IQ, but you really do have a team. Like, you don't have a lot of JRs in this type players in this team, and that's why also I kind of feel like adding a Lance Stephenson, whose basketball IQ may not be right where you want it, is not going to be a great thing for the team.
Yeah, I could see that.
Taylor writes, "For the love of God, please get rid of New Stats Guy. Your podcast helped me survive my miserable workday, but this new kid is so bad that I would rather do actual work than listen to him stumble his way through a response."
We had someone on the last show as a guest who that person does not like. Go on, Jay.
Yeah, it was his first podcast experience, so cut him some slack.
And we had a bunch of technical issues. The show was destined for failure, that last show.
Yeah. A lot of problems on our ends as well. Jason writes, "In the last podcast, you were talking about your favorite basketball movies, and nobody mentioned Fast Break. I don't actually expect you to have heard of it. It's a 1979 movie starring Gabe Kaplan as an aspiring basketball coach who assembles a motley crew of young New York basketball players in the same vein as Bad News Bears or Mighty Ducks. But get this, the star player is played by none other than New York's very own Bernard King.
Oh.
I actually did not know about that movie.
Did you guys know about that movie?
Yeah, fast break, and I bet no one mentioned the fish that saved Pittsburgh either.
The what?
The fish that saved Pittsburgh. You got to look IMDb that one.
Oh, no, I've never heard of that one either. We were saying what was if you're going to say what's the all-time greatest basketball movie, what would you say?
Basketball movie?
Yeah.
Hoosiers, I remember really liking. I also like He Got Game with Denzel Washington and
good.
Ray Allen. Blue Chips, I think I remember liking. I haven't seen that one in a while.
Blue Chips is that one's kind of silly. It's like a fun movie because Shaq is in it, but it's not really. It wasn't like I remember seeing it and like enjoying it, but it wasn't a good movie.
Yeah, what's a Shaq and like Nick Nolte as a coach or something?
And Penny Hardaway, I think, is the movie too.
Yeah, and there was one movie. I don't remember, but it was about the first like all black and
Glory Road.
Glory Road.
Yeah, that's really fun. That's a really good movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe Glory Road and Hoosiers.
I think Jay and I both agree. Jay, I think we both agreed that actually the clear number one wasn't any of those movies, but White Man Can't Jump.
Okay. Oh, wait a minute. So Aaron may have to say Space Jam. That's been like the only one of his lifetime. Yeah, that was mine. Space Jam.
Yeah, they're all there. It was Space Jam. Are you excited for Space Jam Part 2? I don't think anyone is.
Yeah, we'll see. Who's the star? Have they picked?
I don't think they've announced. Rumor has it it's
Is
LeBron.
It LeBron? Is it Curry?
Rumor has if the team is good enough, Kevin Durant will sign with them.
and then David West will join the co-star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the minute.
But only after wins an Oscar.
Only after they're up by at least 20 on the Looney Tunes squad or whatever, the aliens, wherever they play. Yeah.
All right, that's it for emails. Twitter at NYNix Podcast. So a couple episodes ago, I stupidly announced that if Australia beats Team USA, every Australian listener would get a Knicks Podcast shirt. And Australia was up by 7 at one point, so Liam said, looking forward to that shirt. Gucci writes, Mel is a man possessed versus Australia, and Lorenzo writes, your T-shirts are safe, Jay, just barely. I was sweating for the first half of that game.
Yeah, you literally almost lost the shirt off your back.
Yeah, I almost lost about 20 shirts off my back. Let's see. Casey writes, how long do you think it'll take the Knicks to run their new offense smoothly?
That's a good question. When is the team going to gel, you think?
I'm going to say probably towards December. I think after we start getting the flow towards like half the season, getting towards the All-Star break, we're going to start playing well. And then after the All-Star break, I think we're going to play really well.
Yeah, and the team will just be like reaching its peak at the time they're ready to get 9 new players and start again.
Right.
That's reasonable.
I'm going to say 2018.
2018. Usually they usually have a really good Martin Luther King Day. They seem to win like every year on Martin Luther King Day by beating like the Spurs or OKC. So I'm going to say by that Christmas, early January, they'll be running on all cylinders. And hopefully all will actually running.
It makes me worried about November because I feel like November is going to be the hardest month. Every year, November is obviously the hardest month because you have to like get a team together and get going.
Yeah, even when they start good, they hit that little hiccup. But I think they've got enough veterans that if they do stay healthy, I think Noah, because Noah's passing and the back cuts and like stuff that we don't do. We don't do pick and rolls. We don't do the back door. We don't do a lot of those kind of things. And, when there's like 5 seconds left I see these teams run these great plays where they get these wide open looks and stuff, and we just give it to Melo, dribbles for 4 seconds, turns and shoots, and sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't. But it would really be great to get some motion in the offense finally.
Do you think? I'll give you another. I kind of honor over. Will the team gel before or after Derrick Rose's season-ending surgery? sorry, I had to say that.
Yeah, I'm going to put the mix on that one.
Jay, what's the next question?
You just ensured 5 hate emails by next episode.
Here's the thing: like, we all want things to work out, and be very happy if things work out. But it's very easy to make jokes, and very easy as a Knicks fan. If you're a true Knicks fan, you're long-suffering, and you have to be pessimistic because that's what it means to be a Knicks fan. Knicks fans always are like, you're optimistic, but you know bad things are on the horizon.
NCK writes, what is the new coach going to do with such a mix of talent? Run, triangle, circle, or a simple no defense strategy?
The last one, maybe.
No defense strategy.
I mean, they usually do that.
Well, Courtney Lee's a good defender. Yeah. Jakeem Noah's a good defender.
Porzingis, good defender.
Porzingis. Yeah, I think the defense is going to be much improved. Brandon Jennings. Yeah. No, I think the defense is going to be much improved.
Last year they were good in the paint. And there's no reason they will be. There's no reason Noah's going to be worse than, like, Lopez was pretty good, but Noah should be around the same level. They should be good in the paint again. It's about their front court defense.
Yeah, I don't think Derrick Rose is an amazing defender, but he's way more athletic than Jose Calderon, so he can at least keep up with some of these players and pressure up top.
I'm pretty sure sitting in my chair right here in my house, I'm doing as much on defense as Jose Calderon did last year. I do think that I would say that Courtney Lee will be. I think Courtney Lee is going to be a big upgrade over Aflalo on defense.
Mm-hmm.
So that should make a big difference.
The 4-year-old writes, I don't understand why everyone thinks the Knicks are so bad. In my 5 years, the Knicks have been mediocre. Get it? Because he's 4. He was also there. If he's 4, he was also there for the Knicks' worst season of all time. So I don't know about that. He also writes, Jim Dolan and I have a lot in common, except Charlie Brown and I had good songs. And he said, on a more serious note, can you guys give playoff predictions for both conferences? We will do that closer to the start of the season when the rosters are finalized.
Yeah.
Mellow Goat writes, guys, Melo's the greatest USA basketball Olympian. Speak on it. He also writes, Melo values gold medals over rings. When will we retire his jersey? And 1 playoff win in 6 years. Got to build a Melo statue. I'm sensing some sarcasm there.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I want to see what he does with this team because, those teams have Batman and Robin, Shaq and Kobe, and Jordan and Pippen, and he had Stoudemire and J.R. Smith. So I think moving forward, I think this is really what we can see and judge him on a little bit more. But I just think it's been tough. And I think it's been a little unfair just to rip him and think, oh, yeah, well, he doesn't pass the ball. Yeah, well, who's he going to pass it to?
Here's a question. If you want to go basketball, like Olympic equivalent to NBA equivalent, winning 3 titles, like 3 gold medals. Let's say Melo does that. Let's say the U.S. wins. Let's assume the U.S. wins the gold here. Him winning 3 golds, is that equivalent to like making the playoffs, making the second round, making the conference finals, or making the finals? Like where do you put like the equivalent? Like how good of an achievement, as far as good of an achievement?
Well, they're supposed to win. I mean, it's a big deal, but they are the heavy favorite every single year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say semifinals playoff victory.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that.
Yeah, I couldn't argue with that. I mean, like at best you could say conference final. Like it's like it's not that much better than going to the second round, I guess, because you're supposed to win basically. So
Yeah, they're really close to winning. A much bigger deal if they lose.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
I mean, it's pretty cool that he'll have 3 gold medals and he's done all this, but it's not. It doesn't define that doesn't define his career as much as what he's done in the NBA, and it's not even close.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
All right, Mark, lightning round Facebook questions.
Only a couple Facebook questions. George writes, Melo's game against Australia in the Olympics, is this signs of what to come? His leadership skills remind of Patrick's when he played in the Olympics the following season, took the Knicks to the conference finals. So are the Olympics the sign, as Melo's performance in the Olympics, does that mean good things for the Knicks this season?
Yeah, because they really did draw that correlation of winning last time and what he came back and did. And with having a new team and a new coach, I think that it's kind of a perfect storm of everything like lining up. So I'm excited by it. I really am excited by it.
Ralph writes, why don't you ever record the shows on Thursday? Then I can listen to a new one on my Saturday walks. Hard to save them when recorded earlier in the week. I can't resist it laying them. Okay, Ralph, we'll try to record one on Thursday.
Every listener should just send us his schedule, and we'll try and just record around your preference.
Yeah, whenever you want to listen to the show, let us know. We'll record for that day.
It's like an on-demand podcast.
Adam
Ralph.
writes. Adam writes, unless you'll do it before the questions, could you talk about the schedule, most notable games, home stretches, and away trips especially? So the NBA schedule came out. We did not talk about this show, but I think unless you guys want to make any comments on it, maybe we should say that for the next show, Jay.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to play Chicago the first game.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
That should be interesting. That'd be an interesting. Is there any other games that people? I think people make too big of a deal about the schedule.
I would say ask that again next week, and we'll get more into detail.
Q writes, Phil Jackson went for ex-Lakers, Lamar Odom, Paul Gasol, Derek Fisher, Metta World Peace, Shannon Brown, Sasha. Which ex-Lakers do you think Phil Jackson should sign next? 36-year-old Steve Blake, Andrew Bynum, Sun Yu, I don't even know who that is, or get Kobe to come back from retirement?
Slavo Medvedenko.
Yeah, I don't think it's really worked out. I don't think Lamar Odom, Metta World Peace, although I did like him. I was kind of surprised that they just cut him the way that they did. I think...
You didn't enjoy Lamar Odom's his reign on the Knicks during the offseason when he did a bunch of crack and got released?
Yeah. I think he should probably stay away from that whole Laker thing. I can't really think of anyone that I would want from them.
How old is Andrew Bynum at this point?
Andrew Bynum?
Yeah, he can't be that old. I bet he has another comeback in his future.
Definitely low 30s.
Yeah, he's 20. He's 28.
28. Okay. Yeah,
Slavo Medvedenko. That's who I want from the Lakers.
Okay, Slavo.
All right, next question.
Okay, we're almost with the questions. Ralph writes, another one from him. Not a question, but Kuz can score and rebound like Anthony. We will not have a letdown when Carmelo needs a breather. This will be a first for us. So, do you think Kuzminovich, whatever his actual last name is, do you think he can play as well as Carmelo Anthony? I think he had a big game with the Olympics. The take on this guy is he's an okay defender. He's big into driving to the basket, and he can shoot the three adequately. So he can kind of do a very, very, very light version of what Melo can do.
So we're talking Kuzminskis?
Yeah, Kuzminskis.
Yeah, he's 6'9", 216 pounds. Supposedly has a very solid game all around. I do think that if we have a little bit more leeway. Like there were times last year when both Melo and Porzingis were out at the same time, and I don't know where they expected the scoring to come from. I think now you can give Melo a little bit more of a break, and you can run a couple of other guys. I think we'll be better in that sense.
I mean, last year the big issue always was that what you said, like the team, like we would play a team really close, and then our bench would go in, and then we're down by 10 within like a minute, and it was hard. It was hard to get out of those holes. You really need to be able to. They need to be able to work the minutes, so at least one of the starters is on the court at all times.
Right.
And so they need to find. So let me ask you here's a question. And I was thinking about this. Outside of the starting lineup, what lineups do you want to see? Like, what's some other lineups that you want to see a lot of?
Definitely the main starting five: Rose, Lee, Melo, Porzingis, Noah. Maybe, I have a feeling Derrick Rose is going to miss 20-ish games. Like see Brandon Jennings. Maybe Lance Thomas at the 3, Melo at the 4. Porzingis at the 5 every once in a while. Small ball. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, even the bench of Jennings and Courtney Lee, that Maurice Endure, is a really active guy, kind of a Derek Williams kind of guy. I would love to see a bench that comes off with energy. My favorite bench ever was back in the day when Starks and Mason used to come off the bench. I think Justin Holiday could get some good minutes. So I don't think it would be quite the letdown, and I think that there'll be some mixing and matching that I think will work, so we can always get some kind of scoring and some decent defenders on the court at the same time.
Yeah, I want to see ones with KP at center. That's ones in particular I want to say. A lot of those kind of
because when these other teams do small ball, he's still a 7-footer, but he can run so that would be interesting. So if they go small ball against the Warriors and you got Draymond Green out on them, it's like, okay, well, or I guess Durant probably. But then you can go and shoot threes and bring your big man out and then let Melo pound it inside. So it opens up some options.
I think whatever lineup they use against Golden State may not work out, but other teams it might work out. Last Facebook question and last question for the show. Grant writes, we used to laugh at the Nets, but it looks like they're actually trying to build a decent team. Are you guys scared of this? Do you think we can beat them convincingly?
I don't think we're done laughing at the Nets. And again, I don't root against them. Jeremy Lin, I like. I like Robin Lopez. I thought that Thaddeus Young was a decent guy. I thought that he was the power forward.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not done laughing either. They traded Thaddeus Young for a second round pick?
Yeah, I thought they gave him away,
right? Maybe.
And Jared Jack actually, he tweeted when they signed Jeremy Lin, he just tweeted ha 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 ha. So even he's laughing, and I don't think that there's no Porzingis kind of new guy that they're really high on, and Rondé Ellis Jefferson doesn't seem to be the all-star that they expected. They don't really have NBA players, and they don't have draft picks, because even the Celtics get draft pick next year, I think.
Yeah, I think the main issue with the team, more than anything, was the fundamental of how it was. Basically, you took a guy, you blindfolded him, you spun him around at half court, had him point, and then you said, that's the team's nickname. He pointed to the net and goes, "That's and that's where the nets." There you go. There, we could have. It should have been the. It should have been the backboards.
Don't forget, you got Anthony Bennett. Oh my God. You got Jeremy Lin. You got Brooke Lopez, Anthony Bennett, Bogdanovich, Rivas Vasquez, Luis Scola, Joe Harris, Randy Foy. Yeah, I'm not really feeling them. I like Brooke Lopez. I felt bad for him when he re-signed with the Nets because I didn't think that there was any way that he would, and I thought that maybe they would even do a sign and trade. But I don't see where they're going at all. I know they got the new GM that's former Spurs guy, so in theory he will make some good moves, but they're in a ditch now.
Well, what they really did was they were at the poker table. They pushed all their chips to the middle. Said, "Give us Kevin Garnett, give us Paul Pierce, and we're going to win the title. And if we don't win this bet, we are screwed for the next 5 years." And now they're in the aftermath.
Well, they pushed all their chips in and made the bet, and it wasn't until they made the bet that they realized they weren't playing poker. They were supposed to be playing pinochle, and
right.
It just I feel bad for them.
But as you read the roster, all I kept thinking was it's almost like they picked the roster out of a hat. They're the most random, like just a totally random group of guys playing together.
Yeah, absolutely. They really have less players than the 76ers. I mean, the 76ers have at least some young, promising players. Anthony Bennett? Former number 1 pick. Really? But they signed. He's making $1 million.
You're also pretty sure Anthony Bennett looked at the roster and said, "If I can't make it work here, I'm just going to retire."
Right. Yeah. So they got Brooke Lopez making $21 million, Jeremy Lin making $11 million, and then Trevor Booker is third, making $9 million, and then it's a couple of fives and a four. Rivas Vasquez a four. So, and then they've got about let's see. Yeah, they've got a couple of 500,000. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that. And even like if they lose but are competitive or fun, but they've not even been fun. They've been a boring team. I mean, even like Joe Johnson's a great player, but not someone that I would pay to see. Darren Williams, they've not been exciting in quite a while.
I think they've been fun, but in the they're fun in the sense of like I'm a Knicks fan and I'm having fun watching their disaster. But
I mean that first year with Pierce, and then they beat the Raptors in the playoffs. I mean that was a really good season, and then they had beaten the Miami Heat like 5 times that season, but then of course they play in the playoffs and then they lose. But yeah, it was tough.
All right, well that does it for our questions. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
I think we had said I think we kept you a lot longer than we said we were going to keep you. So we really appreciate
it. We went a little bit past a half hour.
Yes. I said a half hour, and that was last Wednesday when we started.
Yeah.
But this was a really enjoyable conversation. Thank you guys for coming. The show, before I knew it, we were past the hour mark, and I felt bad, but we were having a great conversation.
All right, well, it's not a school night, so I let Aren stay up late because she's still on summer vacation.
That was nice of you. I put my kids are much younger though. My kids are I have 5 and a 2.5-year-old. So
gotcha. Well, I'll call your house tomorrow and keep your kids up.
It's okay. If you put them to bed, you can keep them up. You can.
Do you guys want to plug anything?
No, just the website, jerrycraft.net, and you can see the book that Aren and I wrote together with my other son, Jalen, called The Offenders. And, the school visits and little cartoon sessions that I do at different schools and stuff. And,
have you guys thought about writing anything Knicks related together, like a Knicks kids book together?
Not a Knicks one. I'm actually working on a book now about two kids on a basketball team, which is pretty cool. So I'll let you know when that's out. But yeah, we'll have to see what we can work out. Yeah.
Would it be tough to write a Knicks kids book because it would have too much swearing?
Yeah, exactly. We would chronicle the Jose Calderon years.
The point guard that couldn't run. So thanks guys for joining us. This was awesome. Everyone should go to Jerry Kraft's website. Everyone should buy his books. You should, anything else, Jay?
No, I think that's it.
Good.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, guys.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Everybody.
If you don't sit in your lucky seat, your team could lose. So don't leave your lucky seat. But do pick up your phone or computer and order B-dubs to go. Or if you've got a big group, call in for the party menu. That way you can order wings, pick them up, and get back to your lucky seat. And if you do lose while sitting in your lucky seat, you can still feel lucky eating your feelings. Spicy feelings. Keep your superstitions. We do it for you. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Prices and participation vary. See participating locations for details. Void where prohibited.